right. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising Podcast. It's a darn good Friday. It's a kit Friday. I apparently must have
didn't get the memo.
I missed the memo on it. I was wearing a kit earlier in the week. Did not carry it over to the Friday. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I am Max Simpson, and I'm joined by a man who is apparently debating what is the difference between a salad and a sandwich.
Well,
Mr. Owen Evans, can you elaborate?
On Rising Twitter, you know, Edward of formerly Phoenix Rising Nation fame, tweeting out a picture of a BLT sandwich and then a BLT salad.
You just said,
saying, are they both salads or sandwiches?
You clearly just called one a sandwich and one a salad, so that's the answer.
Well, they both probably, I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Oh my gosh. Well, not to get sandwiched between two random topics, but we actually have, but I'm in full form. I'm in full form. I'm in full form, but
stop.
We have a nice announcement of our own for those of you who do not catch on Twitter. We have a new partnership, and we are very, very excited to be working with our friends over at AZ Family. This is going to be something that's really, really special, really, really cool for all Rising pre-games, not just home and not just away, but join us every single Rising pre-game 30 minutes before kickoff, every match on Arizona Family's Sports and Entertainment Network, for exclusive content, analysis, interviews, series, like all different types of things we're doing.
We've actually, you know what? I'll give one little tease here.
We've
got an exclusive interview to air tomorrow on tomorrow's pregame show with Kev Lambert. So, yeah, if
you're not going to get that nowhere else.
You will not get that anywhere else. You will not get that anywhere else because it was filmed solely by me on top of the suites.
Absolutely. With all,
unless someone else was sneaking in and trying to film it from afar.
All the sights and sound captured by this guy. But yes, you can find them on Channel 13 if you're viewing on Cox Cable, and Channel 44 on the air. But yeah, like we said, every match day, home and away, we're going to have some really cool stuff. And not just for us, by the way, there's more really cool content to come across the PHNX network, across other shows that we do. So stay tuned. But we are very proud to be, the first ones with the crew.
The first.
Yeah. Suck it, everyone else. No, I'm just kidding. No, totally kidding. We appreciate working with AZ Family. Super stoked for that. And thank you, by the way. We got a lot of love on Twitter from everyone. So we do appreciate that. But enough patting ourselves on the back like Owen typically does. Let's get right into it. Rising's last match.
See, he's laughing at his own jokes now while saying I pat myself.
To be fair, that's also very I'm in prime form right now. That's what I do. But Rising's last match on Wednesday.
We're really taking this down.
This is going to turn very quickly. Rising's last match against New Mexico United, where they bowed out of the U.S. Open Cup, more like a closed cup after that performance, is a tough one. And it's a day, man.
Can you tell? It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. We're into it. No, it was a very, how can I put this? Passionate post-game show for us on Wednesday night. Has your attitude, my attitude, has it changed a bit? Or are we still pretty sour on the performance?
Oh, no, that was pathetic.
All right, cool. Just making sure.
I'm sorry. The first half of that game was pathetic.
Mood is up on Friday, but the performance was still very much down.
The point remains that you cannot go away to New Mexico. You can't play against New Mexico and expect that it's really going to calm down. Look, it was... Yeah. The club have to actually do something in response. The team have to actually do something in response to calm people down. Now, a statement win tomorrow, yeah, that'll calm people down. It'll show the right kind of reaction there. But the key thing is that, look, you lose to New Mexico on the road. I don't care about the circumstances or any of that. You just don't want to go and do it. And you especially don't want to go and do it when you have a first half that was quite as poor as Phoenix Rising's first half in that last game. Yeah. Speaking of which, should we actually put up our first little bit of data graphics that we've got here? Now, let's have a look at this. This is Phoenix Rising's passing map from the first half against New Mexico. Now, Rising had nigh on 60% of the possession against New Mexico in that first half.
Just for context, the left side of the screen, that goal is the one they're attacking towards.
Yes.
That tells you all you need to know.
For $1, show me a pass into the penalty area. Show me a single pass into the penalty area. But the only pass that actually involves the penalty area is Babu Kajai passing it out of the penalty area in the first half. The only completed pass. I think that tells you a lot that's about where they were.
That's the thing that we keep on going back to with this team is it's not just a lack of attacking threats. It's really, there's just no buildup. It's not that they're missing opportunities in the box and that's it. It's where does it start with this club? Because, you see some bit of movement through the midfield and everything like that, but it never results to sustained possession where you're trying to really put the team under the cosh, so to speak. It's never that overwhelming, relentless pressure of, if I'm the defense of the other team, we got to get it out of there. We got to clear our lines. It's never like that.
No, it's not. Look, this team suffers, I think, from the one thing that can be the real drawback sometimes when you have that kind of a possession-based, slow, tippy-tappy kind of style, which is that you ultimately get so fixated on keeping the ball, on passing it around, on continuing to, put all those things together. But at the end of the day, you've got to actually score goals. And sometimes you see these teams kind of stall out.
Yeah.
And that's what PHNX Rising have done in some of these games. I think New Mexico, the first half, is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael's coming there about something you said. To be clear here, Michael, we're talking about the first half, actually. So Jackson Conway was the centre forward in that one. I know that it's Michael in the chat. Michael wants to talk about Manuel Arteaga.
Which is fair.
He always wants to chat about Manuel Arteaga.
But it's something that we keep on bringing up that, I don't think Michael's wrong, but I think to only put the blame solely on Arteaga is doing the bigger problem a disservice.
No,
if there's someone else in there, whether it is Jackson Conway or another striker, do those chances get finished off and maybe the scoreline is different? Perhaps. And I'm definitely not disagreeing on that point. But either way, it underlines the issue that this team only really gets, I would say, 2 or 3 chances, genuine, and even those are sometimes half chances, a match. And yes, if you had a striker who should be capitalizing more often on that, that definitely changes the conversation. That could be the difference between a draw and a loss or a win and a draw. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it is a lot to put all of your eggs in those 2 or 3 chances, and you're usually not getting more than those within this team.
No, I agree. But at the same time, some of those 2 or 3 chances, I'm sorry, if you're a centre forward, you've got to be,
of course,
ultimately challenging the goalkeeper. That's the thing. Look, you're not going to score every one. You're going to put some on target and you're going to have some fantastic saves. But the issue, more importantly, is that if you're not forcing a save out of the goalkeeper in those moments, you're not giving yourself any chance to score. That's the problem here, really. I mean, there's the comment in there, 0 creativity. How many chances did Conway get on Wednesday? I think that's shown by that passing map that we just had. Again, 0 passes into the penalty area. Yeah. There was not a single pass that makes it in there. That's not gonna ultimately result in success.
And I mean, I think going to Pat's point, while Conway hasn't been in much, he hasn't shown anything either when he's in. I don't disagree with him, but when you really think about it, he has not had a solid run of form. You count his minutes, sparse minutes at the end, maybe 5, 10, 15. It built to at 20 minutes at one point. Then it goes back down to getting subbed in around the 90th minute. He has had really 2 genuine opportunities of sustained playing time. The first Open Cup, where he actually showed a few flashes and was the most attacking player on the pitch. Yep. And then on Wednesday against New Mexico, he played 1 half, was subbed out because, no one was doing anything. I'm not sure if Arteaga would bring him in was the right move, but at that point, it's really a toss-up of, I don't know if Conway was going to do anything because he wasn't getting the service. I still think, as a striker, it is very difficult to come in without a sustained period of trying to get the job done. I still want to see Conway start an actual USL Championship match for at least 1 or 2 matches in a row and actually get some build-up play behind him, not just 1 half, let him go a full 90 or at least 75, 80 minutes. See what he can do.
Look, I'll say this now, though, because the Arteaga thing comes up all the time.
It does.
It has done since, quite frankly, he was signed. We've had Michael in there, which is why when Michael brings up a forward not doing the job, I know exactly who he's referring to because he's always been in the unconvinced of Arteaga train. Let's put it that way.
Very lightly.
Very lightly. I think it's worth noting here that, look, we've had conversations on this show before about individual players in the past. Arteaga does not match up with the way that we've discussed some of those players in the past. I'll give the perfect example of the guy that we thought had no business being at this club. And it wasn't a slight on him, but last season it was Loudoun United. He had no real business being at this club. He did not possess the technical abilities, I don't think, to play at this level seriously for a team that's has expectations. I just don't think he did. That's not how I feel about Manuel Arteaga, but I do feel as though at the end of the day, he's not on good form. He needs, I think, at the minimum, just a bit of a break from the pressures of starting.
100%.
To try and get out of this funk, because it's just not working. At the moment, it's not working. If you are missing sitters like that on a regular basis, which he is, you are not putting them on target. You are not forcing saves out of the goalkeeper. Something is wrong. And I just think like he needs a break. He needs to take that step back. And I mean, Michael's, of course, arguing in there that no, Arteaga apparently is in that same conversation where it looks as Loudoun United is kind of where he's hinting at. But Arteaga needs to, I think, take a spell off of the field. I mean, we've seen prominent players not getting called into the 18 so far. And I mean, Darnell King is a perfect example of that. We've had a few games now where he's not been in the matchday squad so far this season. I think that no one should be beyond the reproach of the thought that they wouldn't start. He hasn't been really productive lately, and I think that, he should probably be dropped for Jackson Conway at this point. And that's the thing, again, Conway may not have done much in that first half against New Mexico where we're showing it, but there's a difference here, and the difference is that Conway's not being given regular lengthy playing time to try and build that format.
Well, I would also say that even if he hasn't done much in the positive direction, he hasn't done anything in the negative direction.
I haven't seen him miss a sitter
Well,
so
and
far.
as sad as that is, like, that's kind of where we're at, is if you're not harming the team or being negative in that aspect, like Arteaga has been, you have no choice but to start, like the alternative. Like, what do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah, I seriously think that we are getting to the point now whereby Manuel Arteaga should not be starting at this point in time. I mean, Michael here said he's not Jaune. He had no business in this league about Loudoun United. Yeah. I tend to agree. I mean, Loudoun United was a perfect example of how to miss sitters as well. Yeah. But he was very quick. He didn't do very much technically. The
difference that we keep seeing is it's not like Arteaga, I think his positioning definitely needs to improve, but it's not like he's not getting his fair share of chances. The issue is he's getting his chances and completely bungling them. I think people's ineffectiveness or downness on Jackson Conway is always not doing much. But like, show me, other than that match, the first Open Cup match against Greenville, show me an opportunity where he's gotten legitimate chances consistently, and pair that with a solid stretch of minutes to actually back that up. And then you can tell me, but he still hasn't produced. I haven't seen either of those two things happen at the same time. Like, he's not giving consistent minutes. He's not giving consistent service. No wonder he's not going to produce. Like, you have to have the ball in order to score. That's kind of how this sport works.
Tends to be the case. It does tend to be the case. I'm just going to draw the line, I think, under this Arteaga debate.
We can go in circles.
We could talk for hours about who should be starting. But I will add this, though, to the list. We're not sure yet as to whether Danny Trejo will be available for tomorrow's game. The word out of Juan today was quite simple. Emil Cuejo needs a few days, so he will not be playing tomorrow. Obviously, Gabby Torres, he's still out for a slightly longer period here. He had an MCL injury. The word seems to be positive out of him. He's making good progress. So I'm quite confident that in the coming weeks, we'll see more and more of him starting to integrate into training. But again, patience.
Yep.
Danny Trejo, who has been Rising's top scorer so far, who is, I think, the guy you are turning to at the moment. It's not Manuel Arteaga, right? It's not Fede Varela even, who we were almost expecting.
Yeah.
The guy we're turning to as a club right now to take a game and just turn it around when you need that is Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
He is pretty much almost a game time decision, right? They said they make a decision today probably, but even then it's running it fine. They're not sure if he's going to be fit or not to play in this game. So that's a concern to me. And it's a concern when you don't have Danny Trejo available. It then becomes a question of, at the end of the day, who's Trejo's real replacement? Who steps up and takes that kind of a move, that kind of a lead? I
don't think you don't have a like for like, certainly.
No.
I mean, maybe someone who's
the finisher?
It's someone who even is in the possibility of creating even a semblance of like the same creativeness is, I mean, maybe Fede, but like not at all to the same level. And even he's a different type of player.
Fede's more of the guy who sets you up.
That's what I'm saying. He's not going to create necessarily his own shot. He's going to set people up. He's maybe has that creativity, but that's the thing. I'm not going to say we've lived and died by how Danny Trejo plays, but you can certainly tell when he's in the lineup and when he's not. Thomas does bring up a good point. Carlos Harvey,
who isn't in the squad this weekend.
That's the other thing. He's not in the squad this weekend
against San Antonio.
He brings. I mean, I also would say he's a distributor, but he's a Mr. Everything. That guy does everything. I would say he's even more invaluable than Trejo just because of everything that he does on the pitch. But if you're talking,
scores goals, he wins the ball, he gets the ball out the back line. He gets into fights with the referee in some way, shape, or form.
Yes,
the guy does everything.
The guy does everything. No, but
and he's a very, very good player.
No, he is. But if you're talking about like a pure attacking sense, we really don't have that like for like, especially when this team isn't getting it going offensively. I mean, you have to think from Wednesday's match. You're going to see a lot of turnover in different ways. You can see a team where they're certainly subbing goalkeepers. They could be subbing their striker. They're going to be without Carlos Harvey. They're going to be, even from Saturday's match, without a number of key guys who are still, coming back from injury. This team has not had a healthy run of form, and especially now where you now have attacking guys getting in and out of the mix, it does not get any easier.
No, it doesn't. It does not get easier. And look, you know what I will say, though, here? Looking back at that New Mexico game, and it's hard to say this. It's very hard to say this. That goal that won it for New Mexico may in some ways be a blessing in disguise. How?
Please remind me.
PHNX Rising was playing with 10 men.
Yeah.
They've already played a half of 10 men in this short week. Mm-hmm. They played another half with 10 men in that game. Mm-hmm. Could they have coped with another half hour and still had gas in the tank come tomorrow? I think that in that kind of case, the idea of battling for another half hour could have been incredibly detrimental to their chances this weekend. I think that some of the people would just be... I mean, that's the thing you have to remember. When you're playing with 10, it's going to exert a lot more energy.
Sure.
Is what you need to actually keep in there. I'd be concerned in a team that's already dealing consistently with injury crisis. You could see another person go down. Now, I say that through, it's with pain. You don't want to lose to New Mexico. No one wants to. But I'm not sure that this team necessarily could have handled another 30 minutes down to 10 men. That's the point here. I think it's a concern. It would have been a concern.
I get where you're coming from.
And losing a guy due to injury because of overexertion in those kind of moments would have been a much worse.
It would have been. You're very
length.
Practical and you're very rational in your approach.
But you don't want to lose
appreciate that. But hell no, man, you're wrong as hell. Absolutely not. No. And not just the result that you're now out of the Open Cup, but like the psyche, man. Like even to hold on, and even if I'm not saying you want to lose that match at all, but like
it was Albuquerque. I wanted to get back to the hotel room, sleep, and get on the plane as quickly as possible.
Even being able to stretch it to extra time at the least, like that helps the confidence of this team. Where like, man, you're down after you're going into halftime, you're going to the second half, down a man, down a goal. Like I don't know. I don't buy into it. I think this team, are they stacked with depth? Depth, absolutely not, especially with all these injuries. But no, I think you're wrong.
Worth noting as well, by the way, that Babacar Jai, of course, is not suspended for for the game tomorrow.
That's a great call out.
He was sent off on Wednesday, yes, but the suspensions apply solely within US Open Cup.
Certainly. Well, we are, there's a lot of doom and gloom a bit on after Wednesday's match, but perhaps there's a shining light? Ooh, as I absolutely bashed my mic in. Is there a shining light?
Max is here to trash the place today. Yeah. Max is showing the anger now as he trashes the place that Juan Guerra was showing after the game. And it was, look, I know I tweeted about it. We spoke about it after the game. I don't think I've seen him that emotional. You
let in with that. Like to me on the side, it's like when you had to text me, I'm like, oh snap, okay.
Like he was very emotional at that point, and this is a guy who I have known throughout his tenure as an assistant coach here in 2021. When he arrived last year, I've spent copious hours around this guy this year. I have never seen him get in the way that he was after that game.
Yeah,
that had clearly gotten to him the way they lost that game. And I mean, I like it. I like to see a manager who actually cares about these results, who's not just going to brush things off. I like that. I like the people check in the bother there. Be nice, Michael. Be nice to Gully. But it's look, I like to see someone who is actually, to be clear here, not just saying the word bother, but looks bothered.
Yeah.
I like that. I like someone who's actually taking those results to heart to a degree.
As he should.
And he said after the game, of course, that he was going to speak to his players. He was going to have to talk to them about how that first half performance, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
This meant something, that game, and they couldn't put that out. They had to start from minute 1.
Yep.
It couldn't be from minute 46. So should we have a listen now actually to, there was a follow-up from today from training. Should we have a quick listen to what Juan said about that conversation he had with the players and their reaction to it?
The conversation with the team went well. Listen, at the end of the day, we're in a business that we can win games, we'll tie games, and we'll lose games. At the end of the day, I know the value that I have in that locker room. I know the players that I have in that locker room, and all of them are ambitious. All of them want to grow. All of them want to be successful. And listen, we're bothered. We're hurt about what happened on Wednesday night. That's now in the past. We can't touch that. We can't touch what's ahead of us. And that's what I told them. I told them that we needed to look at ourselves in the mirror. We needed to reflect about what happened. There's areas that we need to keep improving, and they must improve. There's other areas that we're doing a good job, but I needed them to reflect and understand that we need more, and playing with 10 men in that second half, the character, the braveness, how aggressive and intense we were. We now need to make sure that we can do that since minute 1, and that's what I want to see from them. I want to see that since minute 1, because I know it's there, and I also told them that they have my full support. It's easy to support people and hug them and bring them up when they're winning and when they're doing things well. And not everybody supports, protects, and bring people up and still shows up to work the next day with the same attitude when results don't go your way. And I want them to understand that they're going to get out of me the same person. I know who they are. I'm just going to challenge them and push them to be at their best. And once we're at our best and we find the consistency that we want, I think us as coaches, the players, and the fan base, we're all going to have a very good time together.
I mean, what'd you make from his response?
Look, I think it's... I mean, this is more polished, of course. I think there's a point to be made that the boys do get it. There's Juan, I think, is more the way that he approaches these compared to Rick. And I know we harped on about Rick a lot last year. And obviously he is no longer here now. But I feel as though just the way that Juan cultivates perhaps the individual relationships with his players allows him to go in and have these kind of hard conversations with them. And as he says in there, look, they're all just the nature of the squad that he's got there. They get it. That's the important thing. I feel as though it needs to be properly stressed that this is now, after what we saw on Wednesday, they need a degree of redemption. I think as a squad, they need to actually get out there and put that fight in and show the fans that they hear it, they understand it, certainly. They care about this club, and that's what they want to actually achieve something here. Because again, Wednesday was just such a disappointment that it's hard. You have to rebound from that. You have to.
Yeah. Well, and I think like the thing to keep in mind is like a lot of these players, they have played throughout the world. They have played at high, no disrespect to USL Championship, but like higher levels than
than
USL.
Yeah.
These are guys who not all of them are like starting their careers. They're a bit more tenure in their careers, and yet they're also not are rising lifers. Like the vast majority of this team, this is their first season with Rising, so it's not something that you have to give them like necessarily like, we have to play for the fans or you need to rise to the occasion. Like it helps, but they know that. And I'm not saying that Juan's off base here. What I'm saying is anyone saying this is a lack of effort or a lack of getting up for it. And I even said on Wednesday, I think my words were along the lines of like, you need to show some fight. And it's not in the sense of an effort sense. It's more of rising to the occasion of when this team is not showing the attack, you need to, even if it's trying stuff and it doesn't quite come off, or you are not afraid to just be a bit daring. I think to me, that's the thing where sometimes you try to see a bit too polished or a bit too build up, and there is a time and place for that. But to me, for this team, you gotta I think you just need to get a bit more adventurous, so to speak.
I think though, and this is the one thing that, building off of that with the adventurous side of things, Juan has always, we've spoken about the downside of perhaps Juan's style of play, right? The possession-based style of play that can lend itself on times to doing things that are perhaps more conservative in nature.
Sure.
They aren't as aggressive. It's more about kind of keeping possession. I think there's another part to this, which is that Juan's focus on times on process. I agree broadly with it. I understand that.
Sure.
Not everything can be judged ultimately by the score sheet, especially at the end of, a first couple of games, whereby you haven't really gotten into full swing and you're still working on things and all of that. But there's also a danger sometimes of overemphasizing process in such a way that you ignore the fact this is a results business. You have to win those games, and you don't always take perhaps the risks or show the same degree of cutthroat nature that maybe they showed in that second half against New Mexico on times. There were still things that could be worked on in that second half. There were still moments where they didn't quite show the urgency that they needed. I think there was a couple of moments after they conceded that second goal where it was just like, kind of wind it up, boys. Yeah. Come on, run, move. You don't have to pass it around at the back.
Yeah.
Not in that kind of a moment. You need to be more urgent. But they show more of that desire when they are forced into a position with their backs against the wall.
Certainly.
And I do wonder if there's elements again of just don't over-egg the process based on times, because you have to remember at the end of the day, you will not make the playoffs based on the number of passes you make.
Yeah.
You will make the playoffs based on the number of games you win by putting the ball in the back of the net. And if you have to take risks, if you have to sometimes change things up just because that's what the situation calls for, you have to do maybe take the 50% pass rather than the 70% pass, because
Certainly.
50% pass has got a better chance of immediately turning into a very good chance.
Yeah.
You've got to take him. And that's perhaps the one thing that we see sometimes missing, because the passing can be quite, I think, safe.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, there's difference between passing and possession that's empty stats and passing and possession where you are constantly putting a defense under the cosh, under pressure. We have not seen that at this point this season. Really, most of the attacking chances have actually come from direct balls. And that's where I say, adventurous doesn't necessarily have to mean direct. Adventurous, and to me, just has to be like putting a team consistently under surge, and necessarily passing around your defense or passing around the back, and that's all you're doing, to me, isn't necessarily that. But we'll see, especially him talking to the team, especially maybe after these last two poor results playing men down, maybe something will be brewing a bit better.
Hang on. I will slightly interject there, and I don't think San Antonio was a poor result. It's a draw. That wasn't a poor result. A draw away to San Antonio is a good result.
We talked about it as in the sense of like the first half. Like the moments of the first half. No, overall,
I agree with you.
We like the result.
I agree with you there. The 1-1 draw, though, to me is it's a solid point.
Again, the performance in the sense of like the lack of attack overall. That's undeniable. Yeah, but
I'd agree.
hopefully something will be brewing within this team. But, we'll be brewing is our friends at Four Peaks Brewing Company. Oh, my goodness. We are already building the tower right now.
On his face of that one.
We're already building
Max is having a real banner day for just patting himself on the back.
We are already building the tower with the Suns Brew and the Kilt Lifter. Thank you for those of us who joined last night at the PHNX NFL Draft Day Live, where our PHNX Cardinals team went live for like 4 hours talking to the first round NFL draft. They are literally in the other studio right now doing it again for day 2. So
they're out there now.
We appreciate everyone who came out, enjoyed some Redbird Lager, all that good stuff. So thank you guys again. You guys know where to find them.
What are you drinking at the moment, Max?
I'm drinking the Suns Brew.
You're drinking the Suns Brew? I've got
drinking another Kilty. You're seeing the tower being built. But appreciate our friends at Four Peaks supporting us during everything going on. Of course, you must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. I see Mikey Suns in 5.
In 5.
And who else we're going to be supporting?
The walking, talking advert is
supporting
here.
during this time frame is, of course, our friends at Circle K. Circle K, it's just so gosh darn hot out that I would love to cool off. And what a couple ways to do that, with a nice cold iced coffee.
Can I give a shout out actually to Circle K for being the only landmark anywhere near to my hotel in Albuquerque. Well done.
I would say that's an institution, absolutely, in the best way.
Mostly because there's nothing else there.
Dang.
There was nothing else around that hotel.
Oh boy.
But there was a Circle K, and the gas was cheap.
Yeah, gas is very good. Gas is very comparable to a lot of others, but
very competitive.
Yes. Circle K. Absolutely love them. Again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you text PHNX to 31310. We will be having an updated little promotion for you that should be dropping next week, possibly even Monday. So stay tuned. If you haven't done already, again, you know what to text to what number. But check us out next week. Love our friends at Circle K. Oh, Devin, thank you for the win Circle K hat. It's pretty good. No big deal. But hey, thank you, our friends at Circle K. Shall we take a look at Rising's opponent tomorrow? Loudoun United. Mr. Owen Evans, you're going to have to prop your head back up, sir, because, you did have a chance to talk to Juan again.
It's still that hat, Max.
Oh, is it just taking up a lot? Okay,
it's
you know
the
what?
hat.
I got you.
There we go.
I got you. That's fair. Okay. You did have a chance to talk to Juan a bit about this coming matchup.
We did actually hear a bit from Juan, yes. Yeah. So some talk with him about what's really going right for Loudoun United.
Yeah.
If we look at Loudoun at the moment, they're currently in 4th in the East. So they're doing well. It's a team that's historically been a big struggler in terms of just sitting. They're a big wooden spoon team, aren't they? Really, they've finished low down the table quite a bit, and that was when they were a reserve team for DC United. Now they are finally free from the DC United kind of trap that they were stuck in, just being the reserve team. So, they're having a good season. Why don't we have a quick listen now, actually, to what Juan had to say about what's behind that success in his mind.
Loudoun is a club that played well, even though last year sometimes the results didn't go their way. When you saw them play, the idea was clear in each phase of the game. That just means that they're well coached. When you watch them play, you have an idea and understanding of what they want to do. The difference for me this year is that now the coaching staff has freedom. They have freedom to decide and pick how they want to play and how they want to do things. Last year they had to follow a different model from the first team of DC United. So this year's different, and within that freedom, I've seen growth. They also had the ability to scout, recruit, and bring in the players that they wanted to bring into that system. And individually, a few of their players are going through a very high performance, let's say, curve. So that being together with the collective makes them a very good team this year. So it should be a good game tomorrow. Actually, cannot wait to put our players on the field and face a team that is going to play a similar style of play, but they have a different formation.
I mean, that certainly a bit shed some light onto how they're kind of, dare I say, coming out of nowhere this year so far.
Well, it's a change that's always going to have a drastic impact because it's a change in the priority. Mm-hmm. In this case now, Loudoun United are a team that are actually looking to go out there and win games. In the past, winning games was secondary. Mm-hmm. They didn't really care if they won or lost. Mm-hmm. Their main role was a development team. It's kind of like a minor league team, to be honest, any of the American sports. Sure. Do you really care necessarily if they're winning trophies. No, you just want them to be playing people in the right kind of way and making sure they're developing correctly. That's how Loudoun were. But Loudoun now are no longer that team. They're not those guys anymore. They are a team that are actually out here to try and do something. Now, their current form is very much propped up by something. Is it not, Max?
It very much is. So they have won
a long run of home games.
Yeah, they have won their last 4 matches, with the last 3 being
all of them at home.
Last 3 being clean sheets. But here's the thing: is they have only played, and this includes Open Cup competition. They've only played 2 matches away from home.
Yeah,
that's pretty staggering.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, 2 of those wins, I believe, were cup games, weren't they, Max? North Carolina and Flower City Union, but
Very nice logo, by the way. Yeah,
they still. I mean, they beat Birmingham Legion, they beat Oakland Roots, scoring 5 goals, conceding none in those 2 home games. So, yeah, I mean, as a group, they're definitely one to not treat as the Loudoun of old, and that's interesting because I think that last year when Rising actually met Loudoun, that was, to me, seeing how the fan base reacted. I'm intrigued how you guys in the chat react now. Although, I mean, I'm basing this off of what our chat was like on that night and our Twitter was like on that night. I think that was a large turning point in the way that last season went. I think that was a point whereby a lot of fans really lost faith in Rick Shantz. I think that was kind of the evidence of just the real serious decline in that team last year, because at one point Rising was losing to a quite frankly pathetic Loudoun team last year, and they were pathetic. They came off a loss to Atlanta United 2 the week before, and they come up and play Phoenix Rising. At one stage in that game, Loudoun were winning that game 4-1.
Yeah, it's a tough. It's
Rising
a tough
get
look.
the 2 goals in stoppage time, so it's 4-3. It looks more respectable.
It looks good, but you gotta watch.
It doesn't look good. He lost to Loudoun. I mean, no loss to Loudoun, especially
look good
as
in,
DC
look good
United's
in the
reserve
sense
team
of the score line if you're not paying attention. But yes, if you're actually
they were battered, they were played off the park.
Right, but if you watch the actual thing, it's like a 4-3. That doesn't tell the whole story.
No,
doesn't do it justice. I mean, this team has to be willing to step up and proverbially fight. Anyone on Loudoun. On and off the pitch. It's just it's something that the team really has to take to heart. And you even mentioned that there's a couple players on Loudoun that really need to watch out for. And the chat's already saying it. I mean, Zach Ryan is definitely a main guy to look at.
I definitely watch him, but he's a 24-year-old, scored 5 goals for him so far this year in league competition. And, that's interesting to me because in his professional season last year, his first professional season, he didn't really look in that kind of form. He didn't score that many goals for Red Bulls 2. He didn't score that many goals when he didn't score goals when he was with the first team of Red Bulls. But he ultimately left there, signed with Loudoun, and now all of a sudden he's finding his form. He actually plays in some ways kind of like that Danny Trejo. He's behind the striker. He's not the centre forward.
Sure.
He's behind him. So you're looking at that guy just trailing behind there, and he's had some real success in that role. I think that he's definitely one you've got to pay attention to him. You cannot lose him in those spots because he can punish you if you don't track him well. I mean, again, the guy's scored 5 goals so far this season.
Yeah,
that's not to be sniffed at in the slightest.
Not at all. No, especially when, the Rising team lead right now is 3 goals. So, it's not apples to apples, but even apples to oranges, definitely more goals there on the Loudoun side. Another player that you were talking to me about is Khalil ElMedkhar.
Yeah. ElMedkhar is actually a guy who creates a lot of chances. 12 chances so far this season. It's resulting in 2 assists, 1 goal, just in league games, as of course. Actually, if you look at his cup game in midweek as well, he had a goal, he had an assist. Those aren't counted in the numbers that I gave you. But he's a left winger, and when you actually look at how Loudoun play, they often look to try and exploit those wings. They look to kind of try and play it out. They find gaps behind the fullbacks sometimes.
Certainly.
You saw that against Birmingham Legion when they put 3 goals on them. Rising a bit of a different team because they play with an additional centre-back compared to Legion. So that does change the dynamics there a little bit, but they will look for those spaces behind the fullbacks if they can find it and play up the wings. But actually, we do have a quick little thing to look at here with their the way that they were attacking against Oakland Roots in that last game. Now, you mentioned there Khalil playing. He's a winger. He plays on the left. We want to talk about how important he is.
I mean, that's
look at how they attacked in that game against Oakland Roots. Look at the way that they were entering that final third, and you see they were doing so on the left-hand side. 44.4%, all the fours there, of the time, they were going down that left wing.
Yeah, I mean, for those who are listening on audio, 44.4% of attacks down the left-hand side, roughly 29% of attacks through the middle, and then about 27% of attacks on the right-hand side. Again, this was Loudoun's last USL championship match, which was against the Oakland Roots, and that's a very heavy disparity. I mean, something, right, where you're already thinking for Rising who's going to be over on that side. I mean, especially that's something... excuse me very much, especially down that attacking side where you're going to have, Uzo, you're going to most likely have Uzo and Kev, where especially when Uzo, he likes to move forward. He's definitely, not in a defender role, but when he's going forward, that's going to leave a lot of potentially one-on-one situations, and that's really going to be influencing really how Rising defends. That's going to be a very interesting matchup, really talking it out.
It is, but I mean, just to talk a bit more broadly about those two guys that we were talking about, Zach Ryan, Khalil ElMedkhar, both of those guys, it's worth noting, young. You got Ryan is 23, ElMedkhar is... Ryan is 24, ElMedkhar is 23. Both of them last year made appearances with an MLS team.
Yeah.
Ryan with Red Bull and ElMedkhar with FC Dallas. In this case, both of them let go. They end up signing with Loudoun. Young, promising, upcoming players. And they're showing it with this 100%. Loudoun United side. I think that's the key thing here. You're looking at guys now who are a little bit different to what they used to be. DC United, you had really young guys in there in some cases of the 15, 16 range. Now you're looking at guys who are in that 23, 24 range. Again, they are players who are, developing. They're still not quite there yet. But some of these guys are genuinely quite decent players.
Absolutely. No, well, it's going to be very interesting how this match plays out, but we did want to have a little fun a bit towards the end there. Definitely horsing around a bit, if you will, talking about
horsing around. He's ruining it already.
Talking about Loudoun's crest, and we never want to badge never bash a badge too much,
no,
but
do.
This is one where, the explanation of this is really quite fascinating. We do have a graphic for you.
We started here by just discussing. We started.
You got to break this down.
I turned to Max earlier and went, "Why on earth does this horse have wings?" And then we looked it up.
For those of you who are familiar, it looks a bit like a Montucky Cold Snack, their old logo. For those of you who get that reference, just maybe it's niche, but yes,
let's have a read out. This
there.
is how Loudoun explain it. The horse pays respect to the near $1 billion equine industry in Loudoun County, which is a point of pride for many. Cool.
I would love to chime in. We do not discriminate against horses around here, but I didn't know there's $1 billion industry for horses in Loudoun. Go figure. But
and the wing,
yes,
the wing represents, again, to quote Loudoun here on their website, the wing represents the tie to parent club DC United, which now DC have a small stake, but not much of one left, and elevates the Loudoun United horse to mythical proportions.
Okay, so
if you are elevating your own club in some way, shape, or form to mythical proportions while bringing in the wooden spoon year after year, I'm sorry.
You're telling me that's the most elaborate way for saying it's a unicorn that I've ever heard. That
it doesn't have a horn.
No, that
doesn't have a horn.
Can we pull the graphic one more time, please?
It's just a horse with wings.
What is that
it's
little tip
with wings?
What is that tip
on
the
ear?
No,
it's ear. It's an ear.
It might be a stubby horn, but it might be a horn.
An ear, Max.
It's saying mythical proportions.
It's an ear.
No, you know what?
It's not a horn.
I want to believe.
I
want to believe.
It's an ear. Thank you, Lee. Our producer Lee.
It's an ear. I'm up now.
It's an ear.
I choose to live.
How's the horse meant to hear? Okay, this magical flying horse with wings. How is it meant to hear things, Max? How is it meant to hear your bad ad transitions? Come on.
Damn. Unicorns, they just got it. Maybe they hear through the horn. It's like echolocation, like a bat or something. I don't know.
It just hears through the metaverse.
I'm not a horse / unicorn expert, but we
can make up more stuff. Why don't we?
That is quite the.
Why is one leg so buff?
Also, what the heck is the back leg looks like a genie tail? Like, what is that? It's like a wavy
Pegasus United.
That's a good one.
I like it.
I am now referring to him in the post-game show as Pegasus United, regardless of the result. Thank you, D-Goalie. I appreciate that ammo. I enjoy looking at different teams. Explanations for things like that, and we got to do this now for we've established a precedent. We got to do this now.
We get weird ones. Not everyone, but when we get ones that are good.
No, but here's the thing: it was already a weird enough looking logo, but the explanation made it. And
badge explanations are always atrocious.
But but that's the thing: that every team, no matter how dull or random that is going to look like, they are going to have some random explanation for it. So we're going to have poke fun with it. We're going to keep it on tap, just like our friends at Valley Tap Room. They always got the fun activities going on there, whether it's the karaoke, the trivia Tuesdays, the bar crawls, all the different jazz. They got Four Peaks there. They have wine there on tap. They have all different types of drinks. And they have a wonderful outdoor patio. Owen and I have been there. We need to make it out to the Trivia Tuesday again. We should actually plan this. Maybe we'll do some thinking before tomorrow's postgame. But we actually, little spoiler, we're not going to have a Tuesday show next week. So there could be, maybe we'll do a little Trivia Tuesday meetup for those of you.
Grab some food, grab dinner from a nearby place.
I hear Owen will buy a beer. Yeah.
No, Max is buying the beers, and I hear he's even going to buy some food.
All right, gosh darn it. Anyway, or you can bring your own food to Valley Tap Room. We love them. Check them out at the 202 and Gilbert's. And then, maybe to fuel up for a little Valley Tap Room, check out our friends at OG's Brands. We love them, with whether it's the Sleep Edition, with the Aquaberry.
Enjoy that trivia even more.
Oh, yeah, seriously, enjoy that trivia. Whether it's the Aquaberry Sleep Edition, the Happy Balance, the Indicas, the Sativas, all the different things, the Orange Creamsicle, support the Suns, nice little Suns color in there. You know where to find them at OGEZ.
It's a very tenuous support the Suns.
Well, not officially, certainly, but definitely if you like the color scheme. But check out OGEZbrands.com to find them at a local dispensary near you. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy. We are
Can you tell it's been a long week?
I mean, it has been a long week. We are going to go around the USL, but
one question here, from Merge Gaming. How do you think Loudoun will be coming off a 5-0 win in the Open Cup? I wouldn't read too much into it. They were playing against Flower City Union. It's a NISA team. Look, it's good for confidence, but they were beating up a much weaker team, is how I'd put it. Yeah. So, good for confidence. Yeah. Not sure that it necessarily tells you too much.
Their opponent definitely wilted under the pressure. No, but before we get into the USL and going around there and looking at some upcoming matchups, it is tradition. We do have to give a score prediction.
Oh, we do. Oh, God. What did I say earlier?
You were chatting with me. I think you mentioned a 2-1.
2-1 Rising. Yeah, that's it.
You did. That's a pretty bold claim, knowing that Rising really hasn't had a massive success scoring 2 goals. They have done it twice this season, but really, you're facing a team where they're coming off 3 consecutive clean sheets. Rising is a horrible run of form. I'm going to go 1-1 with the boost at home, given the fact that Loudoun has only played 2 matches away from their home. So 1-1 Rising down the middle. I will even name the goal scorer. Give me, regardless whether he is coming off the bench or starting, and I really hope he's starting, give me Jackson Conway. I feel it. I feel it. I'm going to manifest. I'm going to manifest it to all hell. We want your, of course, the chat. Please give us your predictions. I'm already seeing Mike coming through with a 2-0. 2-0.
Trejo will win. Without him and Carlos will draw.
Okay.
2-0 to says Michael.
Okay.
I get these. Yeah, I'm.
That's fair. That's fair. Right. Well, keep them coming through, damn it.
Arteaga
brace. Get out of here, braces, Michael.
Michael, stop with this
freaking guy. All right, Andrew, 2-1 Rising. Appreciate that. Devin, 1-0 Rising. Appreciate you clarifying. Keep them coming through. While we're doing that, I mean, man, we did get some news within the new SL. A prominent figure is stepping down.
Yeah, Jake Edwards. He keeps ducking my interviews, and now he's leaving. All right. Oh man! How many times have we had something almost set up and then pulls out, and now he's just pulling out of the league? So Jake will move on. There are new people coming in. His role is being split up in some ways. So I'm not surprised about this, given the way that the league was moving. The roles are being split up. Of course, there is existing a CEO role, COO role, all of those things that apply USL wide. Yeah. In this case, what you're looking at now is a split up between quite how, in the past, Jake Edwards kind of ruled over a lot of it, regardless. Whereas now what you're seeing is actually a separate person. I do have the name written down here. I continue to inevitably forget it. It is Jeremy Allenbow will take over the championship here, with Lee O'Neill is going to become the League One president. So I get it. Of course, we know that on the women's side they had a separate Super League president. So with that already existing, it doesn't surprise me that they are pulling these people away. I mean, of course, Amanda van der Voort, we actually managed to speak to her at the mid-year meetings on a previous episode of the PHNX Rising Podcast back in July of last year. That was a while ago, back at the mid-year meetings. But and she's from Tucson as well. But it's not a surprise to me necessarily that they've gone that way. Now, how that works long term, how Alamo really fits into this kind of setup, how it looks in the end, I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll have to give it time. He comes from Chattanooga, originally Chattanooga FC in Nisa. He joined USL about a month ago. Prior to Chattanooga, he was also with St. Louis FC. Which back in the day he was their GM. We'll have to see. I mean, again, it's hard to tell. But a lot of the other main kind of high-level people there, Alec Papadakis, obviously, is still the CEO. Justin Papadakis is the chief operating officer. We don't question too many things about that, apparently. The chief, various other important people are in there, still all the same. So yeah,
it's
But I will say that Jake Edwards being here for a decade, the league has changed so much.
For sure, it's quite the shift. It's like night and day different from when he started, and that's an understatement.
Even looking like to when I first remember,
even 5 years ago. My gosh.
I mean, looking at when I first have seen a game, 2014 maybe, when I first saw a game involving USL teams, that was back Arizona United. And it's night and day, the league between then and now, what it is. Nowhere even close.
He took Reno from us. I'm just kidding.
He took Reno from you.
No, Reno
took itself out of this league.
That's kind of dark saying it out loud, but very true. Yes, let's get out of there and go towards some of the matchups for this weekend.
Some of the games.
Who piques your interest? Who titillates your senses?
I'll give you a one initially off the bat that to me is an interesting one. Detroit City, Tampa Bay Rowdies, completely unopposed in that 1 p.m. Arizona time slot. You know why it intrigues me? Because Detroit have been atrocious and Tampa Bay have been nowhere near their expectations. I want to see who comes out in that one. Game's at Keyworth. 1 o'clock Arizona time kickoff. Make sure to check that one out. Probably worth a watch. Looking at some of these other games. I mean, you've got a repeat of a game that was a true classic last year. Every time those sides met, Memphis 901, Louisville City. Memphis 901, not very good this year.
Well, that's the thing.
Louisville City.
If you look at current form, how Memphis is playing, you wouldn't think so, but that's a banger of a match.
It is. Now, we almost had a game between a defending champion and an unbeaten side, but then Las Vegas Lights were brought back down to earth with their loss last weekend when they fell 4-1 against Miami FC. Are we necessarily expecting Vegas to get anything in San Antonio? Max, what do you think?
No.
I give it a no as well.
Certainly
not. No, hoping not.
Certainly not.
Now, here's one actually, a 4:30 Arizona time kickoff here.
That's what I was
Battery, Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Colorado Springs, what was our expectation for them at the start of this year, Max?
I mean, I thought they were.
We thought they were going to be.
I thought they were going to do well.
Well, the general consensus was they were going to be mediocre.
No, I thought they were going to do well.
Was not mediocre.
I picked them top 4.
Colorado Springs Switchbacks. You did pick them.
I did pick them top 4. You speak for yourself.
There we go.
Looking pretty good, if you know what I mean. But no, it's two.
Don't pat yourself on the back too much.
It's fair. It's two teams where Charleston Battery is the class right now of the East. Granted, and even some of their results have been not up to their best performance. Still grinding them out. Colorado Switchbacks have had a couple recently where, again, not moving the needle, but this should be in my estimation, I think this is the match of the day in my aspect.
I tend to agree. I think of all the games, that's the one that really catches the imagination. San Diego Loyal hosting El Paso. That one is 7 kickoff.
Yeah, but
so you won't really be able to watch much of that because it clashes with PHNX Rising. But
also you're not gonna want to watch that at all, really, or at least not the start, because there's a little something if you didn't hear at the top of the show going on at 7. That is, of course, our PHNX Rising pregame show with our friends at Arizona Family. So yes, again, if you missed at the top, join us. Exclusive content. We got the exclusive interview with Kev Lambert. I say we like I did anything. It's all this guy, Mr. Owain Evans.
Yeah, this guy's out here claiming it. I went out there,
I corrected myself.
Carried all the equipment in. I did get a little bit of help carrying it back.
All right. Well, anyway, but join us. We honestly it's going to be a really good pregame. Have a feeling it's going to be a good time, and not just for this one, but also for all home and away matches. Join us there on Arizona Family. It's going to be a good time. So
good time. And you know what? Actually, there are 2 little things I'll do.
Of course.
This is also a Sunday game, by the way. Finishing up there around the USL. It's a Sunday game, Birmingham Legion against Hartford, 2:00 Arizona time. Not too sure how that'll be because Hartford aren't very good. And one other little factoid I thought I'd give you before we leave about Rising's game.
Yes.
This weekend is the referee for this match will be Alvin Oliva of North Texas. It is his 2nd USL Championship match. His first one was actually Vegas against Miami last weekend. So
interesting.
2nd USL Championship match for the referee.
All right. We're gonna put this is unofficial.
Are you going over under on cards?
No. Yes. Let me formulate this. I'm not a BetMGM odds maker. Let me try to formulate off the top of my head. We're gonna go just for Rising. They're at home. Put the over under on cards. I'm gonna put it at 3.5. Chat.
I was gonna put it for the entire game at 5.5.
Interesting. You know what? I'm fine with that. Either way, the entire match, both squads, 5.5. We manifested it. We cooked it up. Over under 5.5 total cards. Mr. Owain Evans, are you taking the over or the under on that?
Over.
And a referee in their 2nd game. Ooh, I don't know, man. I mean, they might want to take control early.
6 in the last game.
Ooh, no, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the under.
Right,
I like the odds that I created.
We should take actually though. I like that, but we'll take a quick question before we go in here. Monterey Bay LAFC in the Open Cup. We love the Open Cup.
We do,
except when Rising get knocked out by New Mexico. But we do love the Open Cup, and so what I'll say here for that one, Monterey Bay LAFC, it's an interesting one to me. Monterey Bay obviously get the result against San Jose Earthquakes last week in the Open Cup. We were watching that while the Suns were on. And enjoying ourselves, actually, watching an MLS team falling at that hurdle. Always good to see an upset. But to me here, LAFC have the talent. They have the capability to easily brush aside Monterey Bay. However, you don't know quite what they're going to look at here, knowing that they are focused at the moment on a CONCACAF Champions League semi-final.
I mean, that's the thing is I think the LAFC is certainly a class above the Quakes. But the thing how Monterey Bay plays, and again, we saw it with Rising, it's not a team who, I don't care what level you're at. They're not really a type of team, especially in this knockout type of competition where you really are like looking at them. It's like, oh, that's an easy win. Not a team I want to play, especially being at home. Call me crazy, man. It's
also game number 3 in a Tuesday, Saturday. Where the first Tuesday is a CONCACAF Champions League game that's coming off of a draw in the first leg.
Yeah.
The second game is a league game. The 4th game is a league game. The 3rd one's a cup game. Maybe they play a reserve team.
Also on that aspect, they play the Friday before, so they get an extra day of rest, and they're already at home. Whereas LAFC plays on Saturday and away, technically to San Jose, not super far, but like that these things impact it. So
they do.
We'll see.
We'll see. But there's the thing: the Open Cup, of course. In Rising's absence, not as fun, but you still like to see upsets, so we'll see how it goes.
Sadness. Well,
unless it involves Austin in New Mexico, then we don't want to see an upset.
Oh boy,
then we don't want to see an upset.
No, not a cup set. Well, on that note, we're gonna leave the Open Cup behind us. We're done. It's done. It's dusted. It's out of our memory. We brought the sadness, but we're out of there. We're now turning our attention to tomorrow's match against Loudoun United. And of course, you got to catch us on the pregame show starting at 7. Until then, folks, please follow us at PHNX _ Rising, because double the underscore.
Same number of goals that Rising have scored in these last 2 games.
Oh, dear God.
I keep changing it because it catches him.
Oh, that's
he cringes at this.
That's tough.
Max, have you looked in the mirror?
I don't know what you mean. My transitions are delightful, but you can follow me on Twitter at MaxDavidSimpson. You can follow Owain on Twitter at OJEvans18. You can follow producer Leah at Leah Merrill.
She gets a brief shout out for agreeing with me that it was ears and not a horn on the horse.
Didn't agree. Well, actually, she did not agree with me, and I was the one to give her the shout out. But that's neither here nor there. Again, follow us for updates. We're gonna have some great stuff. The pregame, the tailgating stuff. Again, at PHNX _ Rising. And of course, please watch us on Arizona Family. Super excited for that. Until then, we will catch you guys in person tomorrow if you're there.
Hang on.
Oh, yes.
Can I give the biggest advert for our pregame show?
Yes.
He doesn't do any ad
transitions. Oh my gosh. I knew that was coming up. Well, I'm sorry you guys are going to be deprived for that. Again, if you're there in person tomorrow, I'll say it to you in person. Don't worry, you'll make it up for you for sure. But until then, we'll catch you guys either in person, watching the pregame, or if not, on our postgame. On PHNX _ Rising. Catch us then. But until then, have a great Friday night. See you guys.